And welcome to Indian time. This is the month of the Bitterroot, and some of the things that as I said before, this is the time of the Bitterroot where people would get together and go out and dig Bitterroot. The leaders of the tribe would send some people out there to check the Bitterroot, make sure it was ready. Like I said, there was only a certain small window when the Bitterroot is easy to peel and clean, and you have to be ready for it. And as soon as it's ready, the chief or the leader would gather everybody, and before that he would send appoint some people to watch it. Usually the women would watch it, and as soon as it was ready, they would let the chief know, and the chief would then gather everybody together and have a ceremony, a feast, and during the May is when we have that feast, and we're about ready to have that coming up soon. And usually after the ceremony, people were asked not to go out and dig for their Bitterroot until after the ceremony and the prayers were done. Then people were allowed to go out and get their own Bitterroot. So it was important to go out and get your Bitterroot and dry it properly, and food had to be stored early during the summer months, because a long time ago people never had freezers or refrigerators, so people stopped and stored them, dried them properly and stored them, and that was their food for the winter months. And when it's dried properly, it can last for a long, long time. The place name for this show will be Sint-Suedleman. Sint-Suedleman. Sint-Suedleman is referring to the I guess it means cache or stored, or something that is stored or cached. And because of the abundance of the deer in this area, it's referred to Sint-Suedleman. That is a deer lodge, what we call deer lodge today, Sint-Suedleman. And the word, my grandmother Agnes Incashola remembers telling about camping stories at Sint-Sue, which is short for Sint-Suedleman, because of the many deer that was in this area. And she remembered when she was told as a young girl that her uncle Stussy was born there. He was later killed in a swan massacre near Holland Lake in 1908. Stussy's name was originally Stui, because there was a big medicine lodge at Sint-Sue called what is it? Snwiklte. This is some of the stories that we have down at the Longhouse, and if people are interested, give us a call. The animal for this show will be Kosich, which is goose. It's a sign in March that we used to watch for. When the geese got back in March, we knew spring was right around the corner. But it's also a real good food. People hunted and got the goose for dinners, big dinners. Plant for this show, we will Swene, which is a thorn. hawthorn. Hawthorn is a food also, and sometimes the berries would remain on the bush during the winter months, and that was also good because there was a food that was not only good for the animals but also for the people. Dried and pounded, the hawthorn was not the best food, but it provided substance when people were hungry. Today I want to talk a little bit, I guess, about some of the things that are happening, and one of the main things that is happening this month is the river honoring. The river honoring is going on, started today. Also today, the 14th, at 5 o'clock, there will be a photo exhibit for the Ernie and Annie Sorrell photo exhibit over at the People's Center. There will be mini powwows coming up on the May the 17th, which is a Friday. Mission School will have a mini powwow at the high school gym, and then on the Saturday the 18th, Ronan School will have their mini powwow. Also coming up at the end of the month is the last week in the month of May is the Elders Week over at Two Eagle River School. So those of you that be sure to remember, go out and support our elders. This is a time to show respect and to listen to our elders. So that's the end of the month at Two Eagle River School. The river honoring is something that we want to show you a little bit of video today about some of the things that take place at the river honoring, some of the events. It's mainly for young people, for the children in the schools around the reservation. The people that put it on and target the young people to educate and to show them the real importance, I guess, of the river and how we as people can help support and preserve the river for what it is and what it means to us as a people and how we utilize it, not only in the past but today, and how we can preserve it for future generations. And as you will see in the video, some of the events and some of the comments by the elders, the importance of the river. People are learning more and more every year what it means. Not only is it a place for recreation, but it's a place to gather medicinal plants, food plants, utilized by different animals. And it's also a highway, you know, the history of that. The Upper Pend Oreille, the Kalispel tribe, used that as a highway to go down the river to visit relatives in the Lower Pend Oreille, the Lower Kalispel, which is now in eastern Washington. And so the river means many things to many people, but most of all, I think we need to realize exactly what the river provides for us, what it means, what it gives to us, not only in terms of recreation, but without water, without clean water, we would not survive. And gradually and slowly, we are polluting that river from our lake, from the Flathead Lake, which is really getting polluted. It used to be one of the freshest, cleanest freshwater lakes east of the Mississippi, but it's rapidly becoming very, very polluted because of our neglect of it. We have no concern. There's sewage going into the river or to the lake. There's all kinds of ways of polluting. There's the leaks from the boats that are there, the homes that are around there. We just have no regard. That we just throw garbage into the lake, which we don't realize that it has a chain reaction effect. Once we pollute the river or the lakes, and then it goes down the river, and it pollutes all the fish, the animals, and the plants on all the way down the stream. So, river honoring is a time to remind us, ourselves and the young people, what we need to do to maintain the clean water that helps us survive and helps us to, I guess, live, really, because that's part of our elders always said that the streams and is the bloodlines of Mother Earth, and it's something that is very important. It's needed. Without it, everything becomes dry and disappears. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and just let you watch the video, and hope you enjoy it, and hope to see you soon at our next show. Yeah.
It flows through green forests, dry canyons, and fertile farmland. No one can stop its relentless drive to join the ocean. Dams cannot stop it. Water continues to flow in the never-ending cycle that is essential for all living things. This program is the story of the Lower Flathead River and the honoring, which has become an important part of spring on the Flathead Indian Reservation.
The river honoring provides an opportunity for people to share with young people. For some of the children that come through, this is their only opportunity to come out into a setting like this. The families don't do as much camping as we used to. And so this is the only opportunity to see and to be involved with the ticks and the wind and the rain and whatever else comes along. And so it's important to be able to still do that, to be in touch with nature.
Well, I think one of the most important thing about it is that it's active and hands-on, and the kids get a chance to go out there and experience all the different stations and different learning and get out of the school.
I think the river honoring is well worth the time for the teachers and the students, because it emphasizes everything we're trying to teach in our sciences, particularly animals and birds, and I think it should carry on. The children really look forward to it. It's one of their favorite things to do.
I don't think we give our kids enough chance to learn about the cultural in an authentic sense, and get out of the classroom for the field trip experience type of learning.
I think, we've never had a bad experience down at the Rivers honoring, and it seems like the kids know some of the presenters down there, and a lot of times they'll know the elders and really have a connection there. They just have a good time, and I think they learn a lot from the presentations that we get down there too.
When we came back and we did some writing, the kids were able to send their writing into this Indigenous Network publication that a friend of mine puts out. Some of the students have written, "I think honoring a river is cool. It is the only river being honored on the west side of the Continental Divide. I think honoring a river is unique. Besides, it helped kids learn a lot too." And another student writes, "What does river honoring mean to me? It means where birds can fly and fish can swim through their streams, where people can hear the stream ripple, where people can live and animal houses are on the banks of the stream." One of them reads like this: "The river honoring means to respect the river for all it does to help the Indian people and other cultures. When people go fishing and boating in the river, you have to respect that the river is letting your boat in it and the river giving you the fish. I hope all people respect the river."
And with the variety of activities that they've got down there, I think it's just a real good experience for them to see the different departments that the tribe has, what the different departments are doing with the tribes, and how that affects not only the environment but the people on the reservation as well.
Well, I believe that the educational value of the river honoring is just the experience that the students, the teachers, and the presenters all gain from being out in this environment, because this is such a beautiful setting.
The river honoring has been an opportunity for adults and children to share together in a setting that is unlike school, and an opportunity for exchanges that don't happen in other settings.
I think the value for the presenters is just watching the kids, watching them grow, and then I think that reinforces how important their jobs are.
Children have different ways of learning, and they know that there's children that learn by listening, children that learn by seeing, children that learn by, more physically engaging. And the majority of people aren't the people that just learn by listening. And so I don't think it can be overstated enough how important hands-on, this kind of a visual aid of coming out into the field.
It's just a really good feeling for a teacher, because you know the work that's gone into it, you know how comprehensive it is, and the kids just kind of rise to the occasion with their behavior, so it's really neat to see your kids in a different light too, other than the classroom.
We learn respect as early in life, we get a hold of it and we hang on to it. I will respect you, but you in turn must respect me. That's the way we see it, That's the way we look at Mother Earth. Mother, we're going to respect you, as you're my provider, that you're the one that caused me to live. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't exist.
I think about it, how wonderful that the country is, because there's so many Indians that live there.
And the river also produces a lot of not only the fish and uses it as the highway, but it also produce a lot of the food and medicinal plants that Indian people have used throughout the years. And that's very important. Medicinal plants are very important. It's just like, I guess it's just looking at the drugstore we have today.
The biggest reward is seeing the smiles on the students' faces. When we see them these 3 days that they're down here, it brings joy to my heart. I enjoy kids, especially the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade level. They're very, I guess those students want to learn, they want to be outside, they're asking questions. Geez, I remember when I presented, you'd get about 20 questions in the first 2 minutes, and just seeing the smiles on their faces is a reward to me.
A lot of resource specialists need to be reminded that, nature will take care of itself, and really what we're managing is people. And natural resource management is really people management. And so I think that they'll see over time that it is a direct benefit to them and their workload, is if they can teach young kids how to appropriately graze rangelands, or how to treat riparian areas, or how to treat fish and wildlife resources, game species, and how to go camping correctly, and good ethics and good etiquette. It'll cost them less money in the future. Problems will diminish.
Go down with an open mind. Go down with some questions. Go down with some ideas of how you might use that.
There have been many attempts through the 1950s, 60s, and 70s to build dams on the lower Flathead River. Many individuals and organizations have fought to keep the lower river free flowing. People like Bearhead Swaney, Lucille Otter, Clarence Woodcock, David Rockwell, Joe McDonald, and others organized the earliest incarnations of a river honoring. The river honoring originally occurred in the fall. The event was moved to the spring in order to better accommodate the attendance of students from Flathead Reservation schools.
This program is broadened from the original program of just fighting dams to doing the appropriate stewardship to this landscape that it deserves, and recovering and restoring the river ecosystem.
Prior to the year 2000 river honoring, vandals heavily damaged the river site. A new site had to be found in order for the land to have a chance to heal.
sports this year with the vandalism has had a big impact on all the schools getting together. Parents, some of the parents that I talked with felt that their kids were part of that vandalism, and so they were really instrumental in putting people together to come down and help clean it up.
The river, important. If we were standing right there looking at it, the river flowing and its beauty going down. And if we were standing right there and we took and we looked toward the east, toward the mountains, we looked pretty high up there where the snow kind of brings in, and if we can imagine the little springs that's coming out of the mountains, and it flows down and makes a little creek coming down, trickles, and then all of a sudden other little creeks come into it and it gets a little bigger. It comes on down and comes over a waterfall, kind of nice, pretty, purifying the water. Goes into a lake, makes a nice little lake, comes out of there, and eventually comes into that river to where we're standing at and just passes by. And we follow it and looking at it going down the river. Going down, other rivers coming in, other creeks coming in, and it gets bigger and bigger, going into another big lake, and all of a sudden it gets into a bigger river, and all of a sudden it goes all the way out into the ocean. And it goes out, and all of a sudden it forms up some clouds, some mist, and it goes up and it comes back through and it follows over back to those mountains again. Rains on them, and here it starts all over again, going through.
My tribe, I'm not Salish, I'm Ponderay. The Indian word for that is Katkumstin. That means the people of the water. My people lived along the rivers and along the lake before that upper part before it became a big lake. But that's where we lived. And we traveled by water. And the water to us is a life source. You know, we look at three elements. As Indian people, we've had this for thousands of years, I guess. There's three elements that we look to. And one of those elements are water, is a life source. The earth, Mother Earth, is a life source. And the air. And the Indian word is sinaut, wind. We need all three of these for survival. So, as Indian people, we are highly spiritual. So it takes that fourth element to make these other three work.
The significance that the river has on the Salish Ponderay culture, I think, is if you look at the river where today, we see it as a place that we can go fishing, we can go hunting, or we can swim. But it was also in the past that was used as a highway, a main highway for the Upper Ponderay people to use that river and go downstream to the Lower Ponderay, which were relatives of and family of here. So, and a lot of the tribes in the area used the river as a highway.
The river's really a special thing. When I go across the river, when I cross Sloan's or Buffalo Bridge, I always think about the places, you know. That's a spot, like I say, that's a place there, you know, that's got a history, you know. This is where I used to go. This is where my grandfathers used to go. I used to hunt across those mountains over there. This is where I used to fish, you know. This is where we used to do a lot of things, you know. That's history there, you know. It's not just a river that just lays there, you know. It's a lot of history there, and a lot of water comes through there, you know. And people, you know.
I think the value of this is letting people know the importance that the river played in our lives thousands of years ago has not changed to today. You know, we look different, we dress different, we talk different, but the value of that river to us is still the same.
Important to me because that's what makes life worth living, I guess, to me. I hope everybody takes good care of it. Don't let anybody put anything in there to poison the fish, and keep it clean.
The water itself is the milk of the Mother Earth, you know, to keep it clean. This is what feeds everything. Everything has to survive on water. I like what the Nez Perce and the Yakima people do when they have their big feasts. Always a little cup of water for everyone. Nobody eats or nothing. Nobody, when they sit down, that water comes first. Just that little drink of water of thank yous. And if everybody really looked at it, you know, and this is our livelihood.